Now, several people have been arrested in Durban after a service delivery protest turned violent. This comes amid an ongoing wage strike by members of the South African Municipal Workers Union. At the same time, another group of protesters has gathered outside City Hall. Newzroom Afrika's Corinda Jagmahan, and Nobuhle Modise are following the story from various vantage points. Corinda, shall we kick off the conversation with you? Tell us where you are and what's unfolding there.
Certainly. Well, I'm still outside the Durban City Hall where members of the Municipal and Allied Trade Union, Modise, is picketing. No one has come out to address them, but they are calling for permanent employment at the municipality. They're part of the EPWP. It's a program to create job opportunities for the residents of eThekwini. And while they have jobs on a temporary or contracted basis, they're not full-time workers, and they're demanding that. At the same time, we know that for the past 2 weeks, SAMU, the South African Municipal Workers Union, have been calling for a salary increase in line with what their counterparts at other municipalities are receiving. That strike meant they down tools. The municipality says this is an illegal strike, so it's no work, no pay. But the downing of tools means that there are service disruptions, including no waste removal and no one to go ahead to assist with electricity disruptions and water disruptions or provide water tankers from the municipality. So this has left residents quite frustrated, having very little services to rely on. As a result, early this morning, young students led by an EFF member, EFF young student, went ahead and led a protest through the Durban CBD. This protest joined by other residents in the CBD, where some of the refuse and tires were set alight, and this protest actually got quite fiery at the end of it, where armoured vehicles were called in by the SAPS and Metro Police to deter protesters, and ultimately several people were arrested. We're still waiting from the SAPS for an accurate number and to understand what the charges are against the protesters. But that has been a busy day in the Durban CBD with these various strikes, essentially grievances with the eThekwini municipality overwhelming the city centre. As a result, the doors of the City Hall have been closed. There have been many people reaching out for an answer from the municipality, but the spokesperson has only pointed out to a media briefing by the mayor that will take place tomorrow morning. Of course, we'll be on standby for that because many answers are expected regarding what's happening in Durban.
Nobuhle Modise, you're at a different vantage point of this protest action, and it's fair to say that the lines are being blurred. It's between the wage protest, insofar as SAMU is concerned, and I suppose the service delivery protest as rubbish piles up across the city.
Indeed, I mean, as you can see behind me, I'm at the Umngeni dumping site, and the scenes here are horrible. What residents have resorted to is dumping their rubbish that has been piling up at their homes, and because this particular dumping site has been closed following the strike by SAMU members. It's now that people have now resorted to coming to dump some of their rubbish here. I mean, I spoke to someone earlier. I'm going to move out of shot so my colleague can just show you. But as I was saying, I was speaking to a resident earlier who came to dispose of their rubbish here at this dumping site, and he was saying that they left with no choice. Their bins are busting. There's maggots forming. The smell is unbearable. Children are getting sick, and so they have no other choice but to come and dispose of that rubbish outside of the dumping site because there is no access to it. We do know that the city had said that it did open up some landfill sites. They've extended the hours so that residents can use them, but seemingly this is not the case. As you can see behind me, cars are just lining up to throw away their rubbish. I mean, the rubbish that you see here continues further down the road for about 500 meters, and that's just how people are solving the problem on their own because they left with no other choice. We know that there's outages across the city that haven't been resolved. There's water issues that are continuing. And I mean, you'd remember that last week there was a statement that was sent by SAMU saying they've called off the strike, they've asked their members to get back to work, and that they've resolved the issue with the eThekwini municipalities, and that some of their demands have been met, meaning that the municipality has somehow, agreed to give them, what they're asking for in terms of them being Category 10 workers. And we saw that statement last week Friday, but seemingly services haven't been back. And we know this by the fact that when it's load shedding, we're not getting load shed in eThekwini at all. When you're supposed to get load shed, you don't get load shed, and that's just an indication that there's actually no workers. The rubbish isn't being picked up. There's electricity issues outside of it being load shedding or not, and there's water issues. So the city is literally at a standstill because of the strike that some who had said last week has been called off, asking their workers to get back to work. But you can see that it's a different story as you walk in to the CBD, as you walk around, as you go into some residential areas where the rubbish is piling up outside, and people are just frustrated, saying that they left with no other choice but to dump their rubbish here at these dumping sites that they have no access to. As a result, they are throwing their rubbish outside, like you see.
Durban Mayor Karinda, you say that he will be addressing protesters tomorrow. One does get a sense, just given the scenes where Nobuhle Modise is and where you are as well, that address is long overdue.
Answers from the eThekwini mayor for a long time now. There was a briefing last week responding at that time to the start of the SAMRO protest, when just some of the issues you can see that are so severe now, you can see the start of it. But like you saw, the piles of rubbish at Umngeni, at the Umngeni area and across the city is creating quite a foul smell, and perhaps just reflecting essentially what is really happening in the city, and in terms of people looking for answers from the municipality. At one point, a social media post was put out by the municipality discouraging residents from paying for refuse removal. This is because now what we're seeing is there are private companies offering their services to collect your refuse from your home that's been piling up and discard off it as a service for you. But in a social media post, the municipality said, well, you're discouraged from doing this. There are landfill sites available. And on that post, the comments from citizens, from residents were saying, well, this is supposed to be the job of the municipality, but we've got to now pay from our own pockets despite paying for rates as well. It looks like somebody has come out from the city doors. I'm just listening now to the cheers of some of the Machusa members here. Just from our viewpoint, it doesn't look like this is the mayor. Essentially, it looks like it just was police coming out of those doors. No officials yet. No officials yet for the whole day as we stand outside Durban City Hall to address what is happening, which is that essentially the city is crumbling because of the state of the lack of service delivery. The cheers right now are because the eThekwini Secretary of Machusa, Tukuzane, has been able to go inside, and this will then be for perhaps a dialogue with city officials, and this is what they have been hoping for. We spoke to him earlier. We remember him saying that they are calling for permanent employment, something they say was promised for a long time by the municipality, and that's why they've come to the doors today, because today there's also a council meeting that has been ongoing, a virtual council meeting too. So maybe some reprieve expected from Machusa, a dialogue at least with officials. It's more than what most are getting, looking at the fact that many people say they need answers, they need to know when services will be returned. Water tankers are also not going out to affected areas too. It's quite a tragic state of affairs for the citizens of Durban.
Yeah, crumbling, I think, is absolutely the right word. To both of our reporters, Karinda Jagmahan on the steps of City Hall there, and Nobuhle Modise, thanks very much indeed. That picture of the piling rubbish behind you there.